Folks, buckle up, because the Federal Aviation Administration, the folks who keep our skies safe, are going through some turbulence. Hundreds of FAA employees were recently let go. These weren't folks selling peanuts at 30,000 feet. These were air traffic controllers, radar technicians, the people who make sure planes don't end up as accidental fireworks. And the timing? Oh, just weeks after a mid-air collision in Washington, D.C. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe someone's playing a high-stakes game of Jenga with our nation's air traffic control system. The firings, delivered with all the grace of a dropped phone call, came through late-night emails. Not even official government emails, mind you. These were from some random nondescript address, like getting fired from your job at the hot dog stand by a message in a bottle. The email cited an executive order, which is government speak for because I said so. But here's the kicker. These firings hit a workforce already stretched thinner than a yoga instructor on a juice cleanse. The FAA has been struggling with controller shortages for years. Long hours, intense training, and let's be honest, not exactly the best pay, have made it harder than finding a decent bagel in this city to attract new recruits. Now, I'm not saying these firings are directly responsible for the recent mid-air collision. But it's like ignoring a giant crack in your windshield and then being surprised when a pigeon flies through it. This incident, where a U.S. Army helicopter and an American Airlines jet did their best impression of a poorly timed magic trick, is a flashing red warning sign. A single controller was juggling both commercial and helicopter traffic at the time. Let that sink in. One person, responsible for keeping hundreds of souls from becoming a news ticker tape parade. These firings weren't just some bureaucratic paper shuffle, they cut deep into the bone of the FAA. We're talking radar technicians, the folks who make sure those little blips on the screen are actual planes, and not just someone's overactive imagination. Landing system maintenance, because what goes up must come down, preferably in one piece. Navigational aid maintenance, because getting lost at 30,000 feet is right up there with running out of toilet paper on a road trip. And who was on the chopping block? Probationary workers, many of whom were likely excited to dedicate their careers to keeping our skies safe. These are the new recruits, folks. The fresh blood the FAA desperately needs. It's like trying to bake a cake with only flour, and then wondering why it tastes like disappointment. But the firings didn't stop there. They even impacted employees working on a top-secret early warning radar system in Hawaii, you know, the kind of system that makes sure we're not all reenacting scenes from Red Dawn with a side of pineapple. Now, some folks might say, John, you're being dramatic, it's just a few firings. But let's look at the bigger picture, shall we? This isn't happening in a vacuum. Remember that Aviation Security Advisory Committee, the folks tasked with, well, advising on aviation security? Yeah, they got the axe a few days before the mid-air collision. It's almost as if someone's trying to dismantle the FAA brick by brick and hand the blueprints to the highest bidder. And let's not forget the controller shortage. The FAA has been bleeding experienced controllers faster than a budget airline loses luggage. Years of underfunding, long hours, and enough stress to make a yoga instructor reach for a double espresso have taken their toll. We're asking these folks to perform a high-wire act with a frayed safety net, and then wondering why they're a little hesitant to do a triple backflip. But here's where things take a turn for the truly bizarre. One of the fired employees, Charles Spitzer Statlander, a name that screams, "I take aviation safety very seriously," claims he was targeted for his political beliefs. Specifically, his criticism of Tesla and X, formerly known as Twitter, on his personal Facebook page. You see, folks, in this brave new world, expressing your opinion on social media can get you fired from a job that's supposed to be about keeping planes from playing bumper cars in the sky. And who might be behind this alleged vendetta? None other than Elon Musk, the man who makes rockets go boom and tweets like he's auditioning for a role as a Bond villain. Musk, who just so happens to be leading the charge to shrink the federal government, owns both Tesla and X. Now, I'm not saying there's a direct line from Musk's Twitter feed to Spitzer Statlander's termination notice, but I am saying that if this were a Scooby-Doo episode, Musk would be the guy in the rubber mask.